Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News, and let us take a look at this. John Deaton, a very well-known lawyer in the Ripple XRP community, has just written out an entire thread that, if you're really not familiar too much with the whole lawsuit between the SEC and all these crypto companies, yeah, you should definitely check this out. But I'm going to read it for you because I think it is extremely interesting, and any person that's involved with crypto regulation or says, man, the way the SEC is doing things is good or anything of that nature, they should check this out. On a different side, anybody in the crypto space right now that's unaware of what the SEC is doing to our space should also be taking a look at this. And that's why we're going to take a little bit of a look at this. It's a long thread, but I think it is worth it. So read this thread, and I challenge anyone to try and defend the actions and conduct of the SEC. Okay, let's get adjusted. So the same reasoning applies to digital assets. The digital asset itself is simply code, but the way it is sold as part of an investment to non-users by promoters to develop the enterprise can be, and in that context, most often is, a security. Those were words by William Hinman in 2018 in his very infamous speech. Notice that the asset is more a security if it is, quote, sold as part of an investment to non-users by promoters, end quote. Now, clearly, LBRY coin users were in the LBRY.com blockchain who didn't purchase the tokens from LBRY or its executives do not fit with what Hinman articulated. Thousands of XRP holders acquired XRP to establish a trust line with the XRP ledger to transfer value. Thousands got paid their salaries in XRP through BitPay and other vendors. Thousands utilized XRP as a substitute for fiat. Also, thousands of vendors accept payments in XRP, for example, Time. If you don't know what I'm referring to, check it out here. Time offers crypto payment options for subscriptions, which I believe also includes XRP. That's what most sources say. According to the SEC's 2019 framework for digital assets, a crypto is unlikely to satisfy Howey if, quote, it can immediately be used to make payments in a wide variety of contexts or acts as a substitute for real or fiat currency, end quote. In sum, in 2019, the SEC described XRP to a T. Now also consider that 5 years earlier in 2014, the USGAO described XRP as a virtual currency utilized in a decentralized payment system called Ripple. Also consider, in 2015, FinCEN and the Department of Justice settled with Ripple, classifying XRP as a convertible virtual currency. Consider that, in 2015, the settlement forced Ripple to comply with banking laws, not security laws, and forced Ripple to hire an independent third-party auditor, approved by the FinCEN and Department of Justice, to provide the government with annual audits of all XRP sales for 5 years, and this info was also shared with the SEC. Now consider the following, that 2 years before the 2015 FinCEN settlement, in 2013, Christopher Larsen, the CEO at that point of Ripple, gave a presentation to the US Treasury, CFTC, Federal Reserve, and, most importantly, the SEC, wherein he demonstrated the utility of XRP. Also consider that in addition to the 2015 FinCEN declaration that XRP was a convertible virtual currency, the CFTC stated that virtual currencies similar to Bitcoin are properly classified as commodities in 2015, all the way back then. Also consider that in 2019, the FSOC annual report, signed by the most important financial leaders in the US, highlighted the following virtual currencies only as growing in market share: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Litecoin. On the treasury.gov website officially, and I can't really read or make out what it says, but we can see here the Stephen Mnuchin, I don't know how you pronounce that, Secretary of the Treasury, Jerome Powell, Chairman, and they all co-signed. Chairman of the CFTC, Jay Clayton, Chairman of the SEC, Controller of the Currency. Right there, we have Director of the CFPB. Yeah, you guys get the memo right there. You guys get the message. Now, consider also in January of 2019, the SEC was informed by Coinbase and Brian Armstrong that even if XRP was a security early on, like Ethereum actually was, fun fact, because it was sold as a I guess it's similar to what we have later on seen with these ICOs. It was sold in a really funny way if you look back at it. In a sense, to say that XRP is bad, but Ethereum is fine. Because if you really look at it objectively, Ethereum at some point was a security, but right now it really isn't. I don't think anybody would argue against that, except for the SEC. I digress. That even if XRP was a security early on, like Ethereum, today's XRP is not a security, and unless the SEC objected or determined otherwise, Coinbase listing XRP, basically this part is about that Coinbase has a rigorous process for getting the coins on there, and they work with the SEC to get that, straight. SEC wasn't against getting XRP on the exchange. It was only way later that they were all of a sudden very much against it. Now consider 6 months after Coinbase met with the SEC about listing XRP, MoneyGram filed a disclosure with the SEC informing the SEC that Ripple was going to be transferring XRP to MoneyGram, who would then utilize XRP in its cross-border payments business. So again, the SEC then again said, that's A-okay, that's completely fine. This was all in 2019, 2020. 2019, I think all of this. Also consider that the SEC knew that MoneyGram was selling XRP on exchanges like Coinbase to the general public, and the SEC did nothing. So again, the SEC gave the thumbs up to say, hey, you can handle XRP, you can sell XRP to normal people, but then later on said, no, we got to protect investors. All right. Consider the SEC enforcement lawyers wrote a 2018 memo analyzing XRP and did not conclude it was a security at that point. Consider all this and make sure you consider pressing that like button. Consider it. Consider that SEC staff were allowed to own and trade XRP until April of 2019. That's again the SEC people themselves, because there were no clear rules on that yet. The info above, and there is much more, is part of the public record. On this info alone, even if you hate Ripple, you realize how screwed up all over the place the SEC's approach to crypto has been. What I've discussed above is public. It doesn't take into consideration the non-public information. Now wait until we see the Hinman emails and drafts of the speech that William Hinman gave in 2018. He had like 63 emails or so back and forth with SEC officials before handing that speech out. And we're wondering what's exactly inside them. And Ripple basically got them in this lawsuit against the SEC, but they have yet to become public. According to Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alroty, both of Ripple, when we read it, it will shock us. Because again, Ripple has already seen the documents, but they're not public yet. Now, the final stretch. Back to LBRY and LBRY Coin, the SEC concedes that the majority of LBRY Coin token holders were users. The very thing Hinman said that didn't apply to these securities laws. Yet the SEC refuses to distinguish those users and exempt them from the application of those securities laws. The January 30th LBRY hearing is one of the most important events in crypto. By the way, when the transcript of the November 21st, 2022 LBRY hearing is made public, the on-the-record statements made by Jeremy Kauffman to the judge need to be sent to every senator and congressman. Below is a perfect summary of the current regulatory status in the United States for entrepreneurs involved in blockchain tech. At the November 21st, 2022 hearing, after the SEC won the case against LBRY, Jeffrey Kauffman pled with the court, and here is the summary of what he said. Quote, LBRY has been going back and forth with the SEC for 5 years. Throughout that entire period, we have begged them. We've said we will do anything, make any changes, like there are other currencies like Ethereum and Bitcoin that have this non-securities designation. Jeremy Kauffman explained how he offered years ago to destroy the entire pre-mine. He said he offered years ago. He would fold the entire company and give every dollar in the bank accounts. He said all we've ever wanted to do was achieve the same legal status of Bitcoin and Ethereum. He said, I just want to know what the rules are. Tens of thousands of other companies just want to know what the rules are. It's okay if we lose. What I would like to come out of, what I would like to come out of this is at least some knowledge of what the rules are. And he also said, there are so many smart people who want to be building and working in this field. Everyone in my company, whether we work at LBRY or not, wants to keep doing this work. And I thought for sure that by the end of this, we would at least know what the rules are. He expressed to the judge that still, to this day, no one does. Nobody understands the crypto rules in the US. After all these years, no one knows the rules on how to build a technology with a token and comply with the US security laws. Jeremy Kaufman said, I honestly don't care about arguing the penalties. I mean, the SEC has won, sure. He said then, LBRY is almost certainly dead. The SEC's objective of bankrupting us through the process, which they threatened privately 3 years ago, has succeeded. Also in the hearing, Mr. Kaufman went on to plead for clarity for the users of the platform and for clarity regarding secondary market transactions. Again, to get back to it, in about 5 days from now, on January 30th, we have a hearing on the matter. Jeremy Kaufman, Naomi Brockwell, and ICANN deserve credit for fighting back. Mulambo also says right there, I was reading this thread and I kept thinking about the former SEC chief John Reed Stark's blog from 2 days ago, in which he insists that regulation by enforcement is just a myth. It's not real. He called it utter nonsense. But then you read a story like this and you start to think, exactly what are we doing in the US? Really, guys, reading a story like this really makes me kind of stiff up. It makes me realize just how stupid the way that crypto is being handled in the US is. At least from our perspective here. They can certainly do a way better job about it if they want to, but for some reason they just want to go through the enforcement method. They don't want to go sit down and explain to everybody what the rules are. No. They had many a chances to do that. They just don't want to. What they want to do, as it seems, right? I'm not a legal advisor here. I'm not a lawyer, as it seems, is they want to put more money into that big pile of SEC cash by just suing the living out of all these crypto companies and then not really explain why. You might say, well, they say securities laws, yeah, but nobody really understands why. They just say, yeah, you've not obeyed by the rules. And everybody's like, well, but exactly why does this violate your rules? I mean, I don't understand why this violates it. Like, because it does, duh, clearly, dummy. Like, yeah, but why exactly? How does that work? How is it built up? So what is good? What is bad then? Well, yours is bad. Okay, so what is good? Well, yeah, just not what you have. That's good. What you have is bad. And then they're like, but couldn't you have told us that years ago when we asked you? And it's like, no, we didn't know at that point. It's just really, really vague stuff. But I wanted to share this John Deaton rant, article, thread to kind of give you guys some light as to just how vague things are and honestly how unfair the space as of this point is. But yeah, that's it for right now. I don't have that many more thoughts on it. I do, but then I'd sit here for like 7 hours. So that's it for right now. I'll see you guys again in another one. So make sure you just subscribe to the channel for daily crypto updates. And yeah, that's all I can say. Let's hope we get out of this mess quickly enough, as hopefully the Ripple lawsuit will end in the next couple of months. And well, we have the hearing in about 5 days. So be prepared for that. And I'll see you shortly. If we can, I'll try to stream if it's like a telephone hearing or something, but we'll see.